During this video, I will be sharing with you my Makerspace lesson plan, all of the different things that go along with it, and how all of this relates to TPAC. First, we're going to start off by just taking a brief look at my actual lesson plan. Here you can see there's a title and there is the assignment where the students are going to create a research project on Google Slides that describes the houses, food, and way of life of their assigned tribe. And they're going to be looking up Native American tribes that they are given, and then they're going to use the books located here to help them find that information. So instead of reading all of this off to you, I'm going to go ahead and just share with you how the lesson is going to work. First, the students are going to have to figure out how well written the different texts are that are given to them. So as you can see during day 1, there's going to be some texts posted around the room, and the students have to use this descriptive checklist to determine how well it was written. So as you can see, there is a frowny face, kind of like an middle face, and then there's a happy face. And they're going to check off or put an X in each of these boxes to determine how they feel the author did. So we have the beginning, which has the topic, the middle with the big ideas, the ending will have the closure, and then it should have some temporal words. And they're going to do this a few different times with their partner to figure out how well it was written before they actually begin their own project. And that's going to be during day 1. Also during day 1, if we go back to the plan, you'll see that we're going to review as a group how it was written and why, and which piece was the strongest. Moving along to day 2, it's going to be a model at first by the teacher, and then the students will move into doing it themselves. Basically what they're going to do is they're going to get a graphic organizer that looks like this, and they need to fill in the different information. So for example, introduction, everybody's topic is going to be the same. It's going to be Native Americans. But then we get down to define topic, where they need to talk about their tribe, which will be assigned during day 2 as well. Now moving down to the middle, big idea 1, 2, and 3. Mainly we're going to focus on the houses, their food, and the way of life of the different tribes. And then students are also going to have to fill in facts and definitions for each, as well as adding one temporal word for the transition between big idea 1 and 2, and one temporal word for the transition between 2 and 3. And this is all going to be modeled, like I said before, students actually have to do it themselves. And then the last step is going to be the closing, and we're not going to worry about the closing at this time. So after the teacher models all of that, the students are going to be able to count off by 3s, and depending on which number you get will depend on which tribe you will be researching. And student A and student B will be the different partners, and they each have their own roles and expectations, which should be given during this day. Moving on to day 3, they're going to be focusing on the conclusion. Now the conclusion will be something that wraps up what was described, and they're going to get about 10 minutes, and then a model about how to turn their graphic organizer into a completed project. So if we look at the organizer once more, you'll see all these different items, and then the final project looks like this. And this is just a blank sample. As you can see, tribe name, they're going to have to actually fill that in, and then their names will go here. The different slides look like this, where it's the introduction, topic, and define topic, which is the exact same thing that is on their graphic organizer. Big idea 1, and I already filled in which ideas will go where, so they don't even have to worry about doing that. They just have to enter their facts and definitions. And we have big idea 2 and 3, and then finally their closing. Now, students are going to be able to make it look much better than just the plain white background, but during this day, all they're going to be doing is thinking about adding information. And the way I have it set up is partner A will be able to grab an additional iPad. So for the previous days, they were just using one, sharing it together. And during day 3 here, partner A may grab another one, so they can have the graphic organizer visible on one and then use the other to work on their research. That way they don't have to flip back and forth because these resources are available. We're going to use them. So day 4, they're going to work on finishing up their projects, and clearly it's not going to be done within the 2 days. It's going to take some time, but as much information as can be added during this time would be perfect. And we're going to describe how to write conclusions in more interesting ways, and then they get the opportunity to edit and then improve their own conclusions. And hopefully by the end of this day, we'll be able to finish up with these presentations so that finally during day 5, they'll be able to really individualize their projects, like adding clip art or photographs. They can change the background color and the font, and they can even, let's click back in here, and they can even change the layout or the theme. So all these different options are available, and they're all located up here on the toolbox. And students should already have an idea of what they would like to do because we've used this before in the classroom. So the reason that we are doing a project on Google Docs and Google Slides is to kind of have the students use creative thinking. So by using the docs first, they're going to add information on an iPad, which is more engaging than just writing it with their pencils and paper. It's going to be the same information from the organizer onto this Google Slides, but first you got to organize your thoughts before it can be written down, just like in a regular old writing piece. Now, the students will be able to use these iPads to help them create all these different things. Now, me creating all of this information, I ended up using my computer or my laptop to add this. So what I did was I like this font here. I like Century Gothic just because I feel like it's very plain and simple. I feel like the letters are very well written. It's not difficult to read, so I definitely recommend using that all the time. I also added a table because it was much easier to organize my ideas. So I went ahead and I hit insert up here, and then I clicked table, and then I clicked however many rows and columns I needed for that. And then I also merged these and these here because all of this goes along with the middle and all of this goes along with the beginning. So I wanted to make sure all that was included together. So they're going to create a visual research project to give this information. Our current unit is about Native Americans, so researching a specific tribe is going to be beneficial to gather this knowledge. So as they're finishing up, they're going to be able to present to one another, which is a great way for them to get the same information as if I were to read from a textbook or if I were to lecture them in front of the class. So it's actually a really engaging way for them to gather this information. Students are also going to be given the opportunity to find their own big ideas related to their topic. So here on the organizer, it says 1, 2, and 3 big ideas. I'm giving them a general idea of what each should be about, but really they're going to be able to find their own ideas and their own facts and definitions about each one. They're going to be able to take ownership of their projects through their creativity, and like I said on the slides, they're going to be able to do that by changing the background, the color, the layout, and maybe even the font or something along those lines. Students are going to be able to collaborate with one another, so they're going to be working with their peers to finish up this project. And it's going to be nice to have this assignment chunked, so it's not going to be everything given to them at one time. It's going to be different sections given different days so that it's a process instead of just throwing at them at once and being very overwhelming. And they're going to be able to use this technology as a tool to help them grow. So if we look back at my lesson plan, you'll see that all of the different things I have shown you are located below. The graphic organizer, the link is here, descriptive checklist, there's the link, and then the presentation template is also there as well. So all these different links are going to be shared with the students. That way they are able to go ahead and log on themselves and start their projects. So all of this is my Makerspace lesson plan.